Hi, good morning, everyone. So glad you're here this morning with us. This is Tara, and our guest speaker today is Bill Witt. We're with Senior Resource Center, and this is number 4 in the series of webinars we're doing for Secrets of a Successful Retirement, 2 ways to maximize retirement accounts. Today we have 2 takeaways for you. One is we're going to teach you how to safely invest or make safe investment choices, and how to do smarter retirement required minimum distributions. All right. So, how do we help as Senior Resource Center? We have help in 4 different areas. The first is comprehensive retirement planning, and this is a piece of that. Tax planning, just to help you pay less tax, find ways to save on taxes. We do a lot of long-term care planning, including Medicaid planning and VA aid and attendance benefit planning, and then estate planning, how to protect your assets, pass them to heirs, and not have to go through probate. So with that, we're going to go ahead and start the presentation. If you have questions, make sure you go up to the top of the screen. You can type in on the talk bubble, and we'll answer your questions at the end. So let me introduce you to Bill Witt, our speaker today.
Thanks, Tara. I'll add my welcome to everybody. Another great day to be in Texas. I start out all of our presentations with a disclaimer. I don't like disclaimers, but everyone's situation is unique. We're going to look at some case studies today, and actual results and from the examples we're going to show can vary because nobody knows what the markets are going to do in the future. Second, Tara and I are not securities licensed. So we always tell people, if you have questions about stocks and bonds, refer those to a licensed securities professional. So what's one of the major problems that we face as we go into retirement? Most people that come to visit us, that we talk to, they have 2 principal assets in retirement. The first one is a home. Most of us have a home that's built up value, and if you're in the Austin area, housing prices have been skyrocketing. And the second is most of us enter retirement with a large pre-tax retirement account. That might be a 401k, an IRA, a 403b. And so the challenge we face, or the problem is, we have to maximize the value of our retirement accounts because those are critical to a safe, secure retirement. We don't want to run out of money before we run out of time. And I'd like to kind of do a kind of look back historically. If we go back 30, 40, 50 years in this country, when people retired, most people retired with a pension, with an annuity payment from an employer. And I kind of like to look at pensions 2 ways. If you live short, you don't do so well because you've paid into it while you're working, and your employer gets to stop making payments if you go to heaven sooner than later. And so the employer can win. If you live long, you outlive your bucket of money or what you paid in, and so you're the winner. Well, what happened about 30, 40 years ago? Companies started to realize that people are living longer. And in our earlier webinars, we talked about the fact that longevity is both a blessing and a curse. We're living longer, but that means our money has to last longer. So what did companies start doing about 40 years ago? They started transitioning from pensions, lifetime payments or payouts, to 401k plans. And they did this because they didn't have to worry about how long their retirees lived. It was up to the retiree to make the money last. So what's the plus of a 401k? You live short, your kids or heirs inherit money. They win. What if you live long? What if you overspend or don't plan appropriately for the future? What if there's a major market correction? You could potentially outlive your money. And that's where the risk comes in with 401ks. There's a win-lose proposition here. So all of this took a profound change a year or 2 ago when the government passed an act called the Secure Act. Many people haven't heard about this because it was actually passed and signed into law back when President Trump was going through the inquiry into his bad behavior. And so they were, it kind of slid in under the door. Now, this act has some good points, five of them actually. Uh, Up until the Secure Act, you had to start taking required minimum distributions or withdrawals starting at age 70 and a half. This act pushed it out to age 72. Uh, we weren't able to contribute to IRAs past age 70 and a half. Today, you can contribute to an IRA if you're working as long as you want. Part time employees for a long time were excluded from making contributions to 401ks. This act now allows them to be contributors to a 401k. Small businesses for a long time were kind of out of the 401k arena because of the cost to set it up. Well, this act provides tax credits to help small businesses get a 401k established. And the last good point, 401ks typically represent a bucket of money that's passed to a retiring employee. And this act requires 401ks in the future to provide retirees with projections of what if they took some or part of or all of their money and put it into something that generated a lifetime pension, similar to what our grandparents had in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. So these are all good points. The last point's not so good. Up until the Secure Act, if you died owning an IRA and your son or daughter inherited it, they could actually stretch their required minimum distributions, their withdrawals, out over their lifetime. And it allowed the money to compound and grow. And so it could become your son or daughter's retirement plan. Well, the Secure Act eliminated lifetime stretch. And today, when your kids inherit IRA or 401k money, all of the funds have to be withdrawn within a 10-year period. Why is this a problem? Because typically they may be in their highest peak earning years when this happens. And now they're forced to take withdrawals on top of that to withdraw funds out of the IRA. And you can end up forcing them into one of the highest tax bracket, where unfortunately Uncle Sam becomes one of your primary heirs. Uncle Sam gets more than his fair share. Let's talk about the two steps that Tara mentioned. There's two ways that Tara and I go about helping people maximize retirement accounts. The first is looking at what I call safe asset growth. We're going to explore this and show you how to grow your money, taking the risk of the market off the table. Second, since we all have to do these required minimum distributions, we're going to delve into this. I'm going to show you an infinitely smarter way to take required minimum distributions where you actually end up getting free money. So stay tuned, that's coming. So let's talk about safe asset growth. Everybody remembers the hare and the tortoise. Well, Tara and I do what we call tortoise investing. What is tortoise investing? We have two principles. We eliminate management fees. Tara and I are fee adverse. We look for products, strategies that minimize or eliminate fees because we're going to see they can take a bite out of what you earn. Second, we're going to show you how to avoid market corrections because these can be very, very painful. I haven't had one for a while, but the clock is ticking on when the next one might show up. So before we talk about safe asset growth, we have to define, what is the market? And here are two standard indexes that most people are familiar with. Turn on the evening news and they tell you the Dow Jones was up 30 points, the S&P was up or down 5 or 10 points. The Dow Jones is 30 large companies. The S&P is 500 large companies. Most economists feel the S&P is a better overall barometer of the US economy. And so we use the S&P 500 as our benchmark. And here's the S&P over the last 20 years, from 2000 up to the beginning of 2020. You can see there were some good years and some bad years. But what does this chart not reflect? It doesn't reflect any fees, any management or asset fees. And if you're in the market, there's usually fees tied to the person that's helping you manage your money. So what we've found over the years in working with many clients is fees reduce your return. And some of the fees are visible Some aren't so visible. Some are what I call hidden. So let's first talk about the visible fees. You get an annual statement from your financial advisor. Typically, they charge a fee to manage your money. These fees can range anywhere from a fraction of a percent up to over 2%. Let's use 1% as an average fee. This is typical of what we see when clients come in. The second fee that many people are paying is a hidden fee. Many people like mutual funds. They allow you to invest in a particular industry or a particular size of organization or a particular geographic market. And mutual funds typically have fees. They do because the people on Wall Street want to get paid, but they embed their fees into the returns, and so you don't see them. Well, if 1% visible and 1% mutual fund is typical, we typically find this. A typical client is paying 2% annually to have their money managed. That may not seem like very much, but how long are you with your broker? Say 10 years? If you're with your broker for 10 years, fully 20% of your money is in someone else's pocket, either your broker or someone on Wall Street managing the mutual funds. And our goal is if we can eliminate fees, we improve returns. So here's the market. Remember, I showed you before, the upper bar is the market with no fees. If we add in just a 1% fee, not even a 2%, just a 1% fee, you can see that it reduces the overall gain over a 20-year period. And so this is the line that Tara and I use. We track our performance against the actual market to see how we're doing. So the first step was avoid management fees, and we'll show you how to do that. The second step is even more important, and that's to avoid market corrections. And we avoid market corrections. It's a two-step process. I didn't come up with this strategy. Some very bright people did, but it works. And so I'm going to walk through this quickly. And you don't have to memorize. There's no quiz. You don't have to know exactly what all the moving parts are. But let's say we have $100,000 we want to invest. And we'd like to get the gain of the market, but we don't want the risk of the market. So we go to Wall Street and let's say we buy a bond. A bond is an instrument that pays out a fixed rate of interest. I show a bond here paying 2%. So my $100,000 is generating what annually? About $2,000. We then take that $2,000 and we buy what is known as a call option on the market, on a market index. Now, what is an option? It's the right, but not the obligation to buy the market at some point in the future. And typically, a call option, let's say that allows us a 5% cap on upside growth. So what does the option allow us to do? Market's up 3%, I cash in my option, I get 3%. Market's up 5, I get 5. Market's up 10, most I can get is 5. But what if the market's down this year, 10, 20, 30%? I don't want to exercise the option because I don't want to lose money. I rip up the option. I don't make any money this year, but I don't lose any. So this is the strategy that we use. It's for playing the market in a safe way. And if you compare the last 20-year period from 2000 to 2020, the top line shows how our clients have performed over this period. In good years, they get some growth. The most they can ever get in any year is 5%. We actually have products that do better than that, but I'm trying to be conservative here. What about in bad years when the market's declining? Well, you'll see the line goes sideways. So it's either heading north or heading sideways. It never contracts when the market contracts. So we can avoid some of those emotional major downturns like 2000 and 2008 when the market took some pretty heavy nosedives. Now, even this chart, though, doesn't show the whole story because what aren't we doing during this 20-year period? We're not taking any money out of our account. What if in the year 2000, I turned 72 and I had to start taking required minimum distributions? I had to start withdrawing funds. Or what if I needed to take money out of my 401k to live on? while I'm withdrawing funds. So let me show you one. I'm going to add one more ingredient to this mix. Let's say over this period, I'm taking out $5,000 annually. And this chart shows rather dramatic difference in the charts. What you see here is when you take money out and the market is also correcting, we can actually end up crippling our investment. And so one of our philosophies, never tap an account in a down market. Last week we did, or 2 weeks ago, we did a presentation on the power of income. If you have enough income in retirement, you don't have to tap down accounts. And that can really be dramatic in allowing your savings to recover. So what this chart shows is if you have to take money out, you always want to take it out when you're high water. So 3 factors affect our money. Management fees, we try to be fee adverse, avoid those. Market corrections, never want to participate in a market correction. It's no fun losing money. And the timing of when you withdraw funds can have a pronounced effect on how your assets perform. So the question comes up, okay, so we want to avoid fees and we want to avoid market corrections. Is there a product that grows when the market grows, avoids market corrections, and has no management fees? The answer is yes. They've been around for 2,000 years. They started with the Romans. But about 10 years ago, the companies that offered them started making major improvements to them. And today, the tax deferred fixed annuities that we offer our clients are profoundly better than what our grandparents had. These are not your grandma's fixed annuities. They avoid market growth as the products did 10 or 20 years ago. But today we have products that generate increasing streams of income. They offer much more liquidity. They help us pay for long-term care. I'm going to show you examples of all of those. But let's switch gears. We talked about eliminating fees. That's good. We talked about avoiding market corrections. But one thing we're all going to be faced with, like it or not, is we're going to have to take required minimum distributions when we turn 72. So what is a required minimum distribution? The government has allowed us to allow our retirement accounts to grow as we made contributions. Most of the money or all the money going in is pre-tax. So what happens now with the Secure Act at age 72? We have to start taking money out. There's a chart, and I'm using actually a chart that won't go into effect until next year. The IRS proposed and has now adopted a new chart. Starting next year, the age-based divisor at age 72 is 27.3. So if you have 100,000 in your 401k, divide it by 27.3, and you have to take out about $3,600 or 3.6% of your 401k. Every year you get older, the percentage goes up because the divisor is getting smaller. So as we approach 80 and 90, much, much larger percentages are coming out annually from our 401k or IRA. So how do you compute the balance of the RMD each year? You take the January 1st total in your IRA, and you go to the chart that says I'm 72, 73, 74, and next to that there's an age-based divisor. And if I take that 100,000 on January 1st divided by 27.3, that's where I come up with my 3.6% distribution. So let's talk about, see if there isn't a much smarter way to take required minimum distributions. Remember, this is not optional. We all are going to have to do it. So I show 2 IRAs here. On the left side, I've got a single large IRA. On the right side, I've divided my IRA into two buckets. And what I do, I divide it into those 2 buckets. A portion of it I position in something that's going to generate a lifetime income stream. I'm using an annuity as an example here. I show 50-50 division. There's no magic to this. Could be 70-30, 60-40. You make the choice on this. So what happens at age 72? Left side, what do most people start doing? Annual dipping. They go to the chart, figure out how much they've got to take out, and they start withdrawing funds. And that comes out every year. Every year, the percentage is going to go up. The amount coming out is going to go up. What about on the right side? Well, we add a feature to the annuity called a lifetime income stream or income rider. Now, this is an increasing stream of income over your entire life. It starts out when you turn it on, but if the stock market is up at all in the future, it increases annually. If the market's not up, it stays flat at what it was the previous year, but it never declines. So, what's going to happen over time? The annual dipping on the left side is increasing, so the value in my IRA gradually is probably going to go down. Likewise, my IRA annuity is also going down because that lifetime income stream is increasing. But because it satisfies the RMD requirement for everything on the right side, the other portion of my IRA, which might still be invested in the market, is going up. That's kind of nice. What's going to happen eventually? Eventually, my IRA annuity is going to go to zero. Tara and I use products where usually sometime in the mid 80s, mid 83, 85, 88, somewhere in that time frame, the IRA annuity goes to zero. But remember, this is a lifetime income stream. It continues growing and paying out no matter which spouse is alive. Ladies, this portion of the presentation is for you. Our experience, and we work with a lot of uh, female clients, ladies tend to outlive us guys. And so when we set up one of these income streams coming off an annuity, we do what I call joint life payout. So if both of you are alive, it's paying out. If one of you goes to heaven, it continues to pay out. It's a lifetime payout. You can't outlive it. So what happens when the IRA bucket goes empty? They've paid you out everything we put in, plus all the earnings, and now you're literally getting free money. This is the same as what happens with Social Security. If you look at how Social Security works, after about 10 years, they've paid you out everything you put in and your employer put in. But your Social Security checks keep coming. That's kind of nice. We like that. That's free money. Well, the same thing is true of this annuity. In fact, Social Security is the largest annuity in the country. It's run by the government. And with this annuity, it continues to pay out no matter who's alive. But this isn't even the total story. What do we do just before that IRA annuity zeroes out? We go back to the company that offers it and say, hey, what's the value in my IRA annuity? $2,000, $3,000, something nominal. And we say, hey, I want to flip that to a Roth IRA. And what's the difference between a Roth and a traditional IRA? Income coming out of a Roth IRA is tax free. So not only are you getting free money, but you're also getting tax free money. Who would like to have a raise when you're 84, 85, where suddenly that stream of income that you've been paying taxes on becomes tax free? That's kind of a nice thank you as you get older. It gives you more free money to spend, less money going to Uncle Sam. This is what Tara and I show people how to do every day. It's a strategy that works, it's proven. So, if you want a safe, secure retirement, how do we manage it? We generate more lifetime income by using a portion of your IRA or 401k. And when it eventually goes to zero, it becomes tax free money to you. How much money are we talking about? Well, let's take a look at a case study. Lucy and Bill, clients, both 68. They figured their annual budget, lifetime expenses in retirement was about $6,000. We factored in 2.5% inflation because everything is getting more expensive. I read recently that the cost of lumber to build new homes has doubled in the last year. I keep hearing there's no inflation. Really? Really? I mean, everything at the store seems to cost more, whether it's lumber or milk. everything is getting more expensive. So will our expenses. Lucy and Bill have 2 Social Security checks. Lucy's claiming at 68, she's going to get 1856. Bill will wait till 70. We did a presentation on this last week showing how people that delay Social Security, principally the primary breadwinner, end up getting more money. Bill's going to draw 3564. Both these are indexed for inflation. The couple has about 725,000 in assets, and typical, most of it's in Bill's 401k, 675,000. We assume it's going to grow 5% annually. We don't even show stock market corrections. We assume Bill's not going to live as long as Lucy. Bill comes from a shorter lived family. We assume he's going to die at 83. Lucy's long lived. She probably will make it to 100. We then looked at a second scenario. We took the same model, but we took a portion of the 401k, in this case, 275,000, and put it into an annuity. That annuity generates, or will start generating, 1107 monthly income at age 70. The income grows annually if the stock market's up. So it's an increasing source of income, just like Social Security. But here's what our model shows. And Tara and I have some really, really powerful software that we use to help our clients plan for retirement. It's called Retirement Analyzer. We build in a budget, we build in your income streams, we build in your assets, we factor in growth and inflation, and it allows us to look 20, 30 years into the future and tell you where you're going to be. Most of our clients come back annually. We review the plan, make sure we're staying on target. If we make little adjustments now, they can have profound effects down the road. So how did our model do? The top one shows that at age 100, Lucy has about 345,000 if she just leaves her money in the IRA, in the 401k, in the market. But look what happens if we put some of the money into an annuity. We actually increase the assets that Lucy has available at age 100 by 241,000. That's a lot of money. Who would like to leave an additional 241 to the kids or the grandkids to leave a legacy? Most of us want to leave a legacy. In this way, we showed Lucy how to leave an additional 241, assuming she makes it to age 100. But this isn't even the whole story. What didn't we factor in? We assume Bill's going to pass away at age 83. But many people experience long-term care events before they pass away. In a future webinar, we're going to talk about multiple ways to pay for long-term care. This is probably the biggest financial risk all of us will face in retirement. We don't want to talk about it, but when it happens, it can be devastating. So let's assume instead of Bill just passing away quietly at age 83, let's say Bill has 3 years of long-term care. Future projections say that the care cost monthly is going to be $11,000 a month. Wow, this really starts to dent their savings. And you can see the impact. Now Lucy doesn't make it to age 100. At age 93, we've drained her savings. Her go-forward income at that point, all from Social Security, is $5,607. But what if instead we had an annuity that had a doubling effect that helped defray the cost of long-term care? What you see now is instead of being short $11,000 a month, we've reduced that amount down to in the $7,000 range. May not sound like much, but how does it affect the model? Well, now Lucy has 2 more years of financial solvency. She makes it to age 95, and then the bucket's empty. But here's the big difference. Look what her go-forward income is at this point, $9,647 a month. Would you like to, ladies, think about this. You're out of money. Would you like to be living on $5,600 a month or $9,600 a month? These are the types of scenarios we help our clients plan for so they don't have a bad surprise. So let's go back to that chart I showed you earlier. Remember we talked about original pensions, annuities, from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Live short, the employer wins. Live long, you win. And they came out with 401ks. You live short, your heirs win, but there's some risk of living long. Will you outlive your 401k money? Well, Tara and I introduce what I call a win-win scenario. Take a portion of that 401k, put it into an annuity, add on an income rider. You live short, like a 401k, your kids inherit whatever's left in the bucket. The insurance company doesn't get to keep it. What if you outlive your bucket of money? Well, then you win, just like you did with your grandparents' pensions. It's free money coming to you because you've outlived your bucket of money. And eventually, if we're using 401k money or IRA money to fund the annuity, it becomes tax free. That's a win-win. These are the kinds of strategies that Tara and I use every day to give people peace of mind and confidence in retirement that their money will last as long as they do, and they'll be able to leave money as a legacy for their kids and grandkids. So what's the next step? The next step is call us. We're happy to sit down. Our consultations are always free. We welcome your questions on this or many other topics. And as Tara said, this is only one part of a 13-part series of secrets of a successful retirement. These 13 topics address a wide range of topics, including long-term care, taxes, legal documents. We've talked about Social Security. We're going to be talking about Medicare. We talk about a lot of different topics, all of which together come together to create a comprehensive retirement plan. Having a financial advisor isn't the same as having a comprehensive retirement plan. You have to have income and plan ahead for risks, and we'll show you how to do that. And for joining us today, you're going to get a PDF copy of the second edition of my book. A lot of bad news with COVID and the pandemic. One good thing that came out, I sat down and wrote a book that summarizes everything that Tara and I have learned over the last 19 years. You're going to get a free copy of this, and many of the topics of the webinars come directly from the book. So you can read the book and then join us for the webinars to ask questions. So with that, Tara, do we have any questions?
Let's take a look. And before we get to the questions, if you guys want to take an opportunity to do that, I will be sending a follow-up email to everyone that participated. It'll include the book as well as the link to our next webinar for next Tuesday at 10 a.m., which is on what legal documents do you need. So that'll be in there. And then there also will be a link to a recording of this webinar. So if you wanted to listen to it again, you want to send it to a friend or family, you can do it that way. And then we'll have it posted in about 24 hours on our website. So at any time you want to listen to it, you can do that. So now to get to the questions. Let's see. Okay, first question is, so this model that you talk about on the webinar, does it work with regular money and not just IRA funds?
Good question. It does. The only difference is, I mean, you can use after-tax money, savings account money, put it into an annuity, generate a lifetime stream of income. When the bucket goes empty, which it will eventually, it becomes free money to you. So yes, that part is the same. The only difference is you can't convert it to tax-free money because it's not coming from an IRA to a Roth. But still a good strategy for extending the life cycle. I think of annuities as longevity insurance. They just allow our money to live on and not and we can't outlive our money.
Yeah, great question. Okay. What effect does a deferred annuity create? One that does not pay out until a later age?
Good question. The annuities we set up are deferred annuities. Some of them, our clients initiate the income stream immediately, but you don't have to. We have different types of annuity products. Some of them are pure growth products. They don't even have an income rider. They are just pure growth. We have several products that have averaged between 7 and 8% safely every year the last 10 years. So if you're looking just for pure growth, you don't need additional income, they're a great fit. But many of the products we have are income and growth, and they're you can park the money, let it grow safely, and turn on the income when you choose to turn it on. But I will say this, we've changed our philosophy in when to turn on the income. Why do I say that? The longer you wait, the more income you get, kind of like with Social Security. But by delaying it, you're delaying the point at which the bucket's going to go empty. And what we're finding is that people younger than 72 can set up an annuity, start drawing income out. Yes, they pay tax on the money coming out, but it's helping convert IRA money eventually into a Roth format. And we do a lot of Roth conversions within our practice. So that's another whole topic that we didn't even cover today. But yes, you can use a deferred annuity, let it grow, and then turn on the income at a later age.
Okay, good question. All right. So if the markets are doing so well, is it going to be a better idea to just keep it in the market or to do something like this?
Good question. Tara and I are not market uh, pundits. I'm not good at timing the market. I know that we had a severe downturn in 2000 and 2008. Uh, and right now the markets are booming. We're at high water mark. But usually every 8, 10, 12 years, a major correction occurs. And I can't tell you what the timing on that is. I do know this, that the portion of the market, a portion of the money that we help you use is to build a foundation. Let's say you take money out and create additional income so that you're income and expense neutral in retirement. Then it really doesn't matter if a correction takes place on your other money. Why? Because you don't have to tap it to live on. You can let it recover. And so I guess my suggestion would be take a portion of the money that's done so well, take money off the table now and build that foundation for your retirement so that no matter whether the markets boom for the next 5 or 10 years or there is a major correction, you've built the foundation in to support a safe, secure retirement.
All right. And last question for today is if I work with you, do I have to give up my other advisor?
Good question, too. The answer is no. Uh, Tara and I don't do securities investing. So if you want to have a portion of your money in the market, in mutual funds, in gold, in Bitcoin, in any one of a number of the hybrid options, keep it there. Let us work with you to build the foundation. With that, and if you go back two or three seminars when I talked about the power of income, I quoted a study that was done by the Principal Financial Group. Back in 2019, they hired two really bright PhDs from the American College. They asked them to analyze something that doesn't get a lot of play, and that is how does income affect people's retirement? They had two findings. People with more guaranteed income in retirement have better financial outcomes. Now, that one didn't surprise me, but half the report was devoted to something else, to the emotions that are affected by having more income in retirement. What they found was people with more guaranteed income were more confident. They had peace of mind. Why? Because they knew that they weren't going to outlive their money and they knew they were going to be able to leave money to their kids or grandkids. So, uh, if you have a choice, a lot of our clients, when they come in, I go, how do you spend your day? And they go, well, I spend it watching CNN. What? What are you watching? The market. It's up, it's down. How does that make you feel? Kind of stressed out. Why don't we take some of that stress off the table? Build a foundation. We'll show you how. That's the action step. Build the foundation now so you don't worry and don't have to spend your day praying that the markets are up. You base your retirement on a market based strategy alone. It's kind of a slippery slope. It's something you and I can't control, but we can create guaranteed lifetime income. And I like building my retirement on something that's under my control, not out of my control. So uh, that's another good question. Tara, any more questions?
Let's see. Oh, we just got a new one. Um, Oh, no, we didn't. Okay. All right. Well, I guess that's it for today. We really appreciate the time you took out of your day to listen to us talk. And now it's your opportunity to take an action step. So give us a call. Our number's on the screen. You also can email either of us. Our email addresses are Bill at srctexas.com or Tara at srctexas.com. And don't forget about our next week's same time, Tuesdays, 10 a.m. The next week's presentation is on what legal documents do you need. So with that, we look forward to speaking with you soon. Have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.